around the country. Talk to me about jobs, jobs, jobs. I hear you saying that. How does the green economy look from your perspective going forward?
Well, first of all, let me just say, whenever we talk about AB 32 and all the environmental policies, it's very important to also give credit to Senator Povley. Because Senator Povley has been an extraordinary leader in our capital. Without her great work, we wouldn't have any of that. And it's also the same as with Speaker Nunes. Speaker Nunes fought for that in 2006 and did extraordinary work and negotiated and shuttled and brought everyone together. So he's another one that deserves a great round of applause for the great work that he has done. Senator Steinberg, who was just here, and he ran off, kind of to show that he's busier than I am. There's always this competition amongst us, I know, but that was all about it. He says, I'm busy. Well, I said, I'm not, right? But anyway, so he ran off. He's busy right now, working and prepping for the Big Five meeting. But anyway, so he also should get credit because he has done a lot of great work. So there's a lot of people that do a lot of great work, so it's important to give everyone credit on those things for the great work that they've done. But let me just tell you that we have been fighting for the last 6 years to get the permits for transmission lines in California and to get the solar plants built and all this. And it took years and years and years. And finally, it's all coming together. It's really great, the relationship between the federal government, the locals, the environmentalists, the builders of the solar plants, our administration, everyone has come together. And just recently, and also the PUC and everyone, just recently we have really gotten the permits for so many solar plants. I mean, we're talking about thousands of megawatts. We're going to reach our 33% of renewables by the year 2020, I can guarantee you that, which will make us by far the leader. We're already the leader in America, but by far the leader in the world when it comes to renewable energy. And you add now also the 12-13% of hydro, that would mean 45% of renewables in the States. It's really extraordinary work that's going on. But each time when you see a solar plant getting a permit, I don't only see the megawatts, but I see the thousands and thousands of jobs. Because each time you build a solar plant like this, it is thousands and thousands of jobs that you're creating there. And this is why we see this unbelievable surge in job creation in the green market. If it is Tesla forming a partnership with Toyota and getting, taking over the Lumi plant and then putting thousands of people to work there, or if it is solar plants being built, or windmills being built, or the battery, or any of those developments, there's so much going on, and also partnerships with overseas and us selling goods overseas and so on. So I think, and this is why they say that hundreds of thousands of jobs have been created in the green market, and it is the biggest increase in job creation right now. This is why it is so important to keep going in that direction.
Awesome. So what you see is a conversation on key policies that relate to our environment, certainly job creation. Tom, I'm going to change the kind of trajectory of the conversation just a bit. My passion is education for 101 reasons, as well as governor here. You talk about how our country is failing to compete internationally and beyond. And we're ranked, unfortunately, 21st in math and 25th in science. Give us your perspective in terms of the state of schools in our country and what we need to do as a system to be competitive, to create that level of innovation that you so often talk about.
Well, now I really have to explain why I'm here. Kevin's wife's my daughter's boss. Okay? My daughter did Teach for America in Washington, D.C., and now she is a proud third-grade teacher in the Washington, D.C. school system, where you are seeing tremendous innovation going on today, and I'm so proud of her for being part of that and for what Michelle is doing there. So let me give you from 30,000 feet, because you're at ground level, and really I tend to look at this as a global issue. The way I see the biggest trend in the world happening today, people say to me, hey, you wrote the world is flat in 2005, but did you get it right? And I say, no, I got it wrong. That's what you thought, you got it wrong. What did you get wrong? The world is so much flatter than I thought, okay? That is all of these trends that are integrating and taking friction out of the system are actually just going ahead at an even more rapid pace. Now, what that means, I believe, is that we're entering a world where everything, or more and more things, are becoming a commodity except this: innovation, imagination, the ability to spark new ideas. So basically, see, if I've got this now, I can actually go to Delta in Taiwan and they'll design it. I then skip over to Alibaba in Hangzhou, China, and they'll find me a Chinese manufacturer to manufacture it. I'll then pop up to Amazon in Seattle and Jeff Bezos will do my fulfillment and delivery. I go online and freelancer.com will do my logo and Craigslist will give me someone to run my back room. More and more things are becoming commodities, but there is one thing that then becomes higher and higher in value, and that is this, the ability to spark ideas. So I believe we're actually entering a world where there are going to be two kinds of countries. It's not developed and developing. It's going to be high imagination enabling countries, HIEs, and low imagination enabling countries, LIEs. We must be an HIE, and there will be high imagination enabling cities, high imagination enabling states, and there will be high imagination enabling countries. We got to get more people doing this. Now, part of that requires rigor and having just more education for more people, never letting 20% of our kids drop out of school, so we bring up the floor, and at the same time, push out the ceiling. Now, you might say, look, not everybody can write Hamlet. Not everybody can invent Facebook. That's not the point. What we all have to do, me, you, everybody, is ask, what is my this? I call it, what is my chocolate sauce, whipped cream, and cherry on top? That I'm going to put on top, whatever I do. Part of my this was I studied Arabic and Middle East history in college. Then I studied American foreign policy. Then I studied globalization. Then I studied environment. I'm always looking for something else. So that's the challenge for all of us. And we actually all have it in us. One of my favorite examples of this, I have season tickets we used to have season tickets to the Baltimore Orioles baseball game. There's a guy at Oriole Park at Camden Yard. He's one of my favorite guys. He sold lemonade. Now, lemonade at Oriole Park in Camden Yard is a plastic cup with water, sugar, and a lemon floating in it. It doesn't get any more commodity than that, all right? But this guy didn't just sell you the lemonade. No. He shook it up. He did a dance. He sat on your lap. He sang a song. He turned it into entertainment. And I noticed at the end of the game, he had a wad of bills 10 times thicker than any other vendor in the stadium. He said, I've got a commodity job. What is that extra I can bring to that? And that's what we all have to do, whatever job you're in, because in this flat world, and this is the sad, harsh reality, average won't cut it anymore. Average job will earn you below average wage. But if you can bring that chocolate sauce, whipped cream, and cherry on top, whether you're a mayor, columnist, school teacher, waiter, okay, whatever it is, think of what that extra you can bring, because it's a world of this. Everything else is a commodity.
Awesome. Thanks for that. So, Governor, I know you have to run, and we know you are busier than Darren Steinberg. Let me clear that up for the record. I'd like, if you wouldn't mind, two quick thoughts. One is this. In Copenhagen, you talked about the movement starts with people. And we have 1,000 people in this room. Business leaders, elected officials, people from all walks. What do we need to do? What do you want us to leave here and do as we leave this building, go back into our communities in our respected areas? I think hearing from the leader of the great state of California would be interesting to us all.
Well, I think first of all, it's a very good question, because I always say that federal governments, national governments have this debate to come to an agreement, the Kyoto Treaty, and how can they all agree on what the reduction of greenhouse gases is. But the fact of the matter is that's maybe one way of getting there, but there's so many other ways of achieving the same goal, and one is to include the people, not just government, but ordinary people, because all of the great movements in the world are all started on a grassroots level. So the people should not be discouraged People should never feel that, what can I do? What does it matter when I change my light bulbs? What does it matter if I have the right tire pressure, or if I buy a car that gets 40 miles per gallon versus 20 miles per gallon? What effect does that have in the world? Or what effect does it have in California as the greenhouse gas reductions? What effect would that have on the globe? But let me tell you, it does have an effect. And it will be kind of limiting yourself, because it's the same as like a teacher going to the classroom and say, what effect will it have on the intelligence of all the kids around the world if I teach about 10 kids every day? It has no effect on the whole world. No, it has a great effect, because she's going to have, or he is going to have, a great impact on those 10 kids. And so 10 kids, and another 10 kids, another 10 kids. So we should never feel like that we have no impact. We do have an impact. So each person should think about what can they do in order to go and reduce the greenhouse gases, and also to participate in this fight right now up until November 2nd, to go and make sure that we can go and beat back Proposition 23. Each one of you has the power to do that. Each one of them has the power to go and reduce our greenhouse gases with what car we drive, with what kind of light bulbs we have, or what kind of tire pressure that we have, and those kind of things. Or do we use solar in our house versus regular electricity? And so there's so many things that we can do. People should get really engaged in this fight, and I think Tom hit the nail on the head. This is really, we all have to make sacrifices. No one should ever feel like this is. These 6.5 million people that are being hospitalized, hospital visits every year, just because of the pollution that we have. That is inexcusable. We can do much better than that. And so this is one other thing besides looking at the financial thing in global warming, was the health. I mean, to have in the Central Valley 1 out of 6 kids walking around with an inhaler because they have asthma problems and stuff. It's inexcusable. This is self-inflicted wounds. These are things that we are doing to ourselves and to our children. Let's stop that madness. And this is why it is so important to beat back on Proposition 23.
So we're going to conclude with a closing remark from Tom Friedman, and then the final word will go to the governor. Tom, again, we want to thank you so much for coming out and sharing with us today. And I think the governor, again, with his bold leadership, has clearly set the table for California. You have fought for aggressive policies. You've been out in the front line as a Republican when it wasn't popular. Tom, I'd like to ask you, I know you fly at 30,000 feet. We're going to have you descend a little bit to Main Street for a moment. And I feel like mayors and cities and regions are really where the work is going to get done. So what advice would you have to us in this Sacramento community? What should we be doing or looking at when it comes to the Greenwise initiative, so that when you travel around the country and beyond that, that you'll be able to point back to Sacramento and say, this is what they're doing, or this is what they have begun to do in Sacramento that makes them a leader in a national and discussion beyond?
Well, I'll just say briefly, first of all, it's great to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me with you, and always an honor to be with the governor as well. So thanks, just want to get that on the record.
I want to say all that all over again.
So it's great to be here with you. I probably wouldn't be able to add anything more than this. In a flat world, I had Iceland up there on my slide. Iceland got in there for the wrong reasons. You know why Iceland was there? You know why their banks melted down? Their banks went wild, and one of them created an online savings account called icesave.com. I'm not making this up, friends. It blew up in the 2007-2008 crisis. And you know what people discovered? There was, I believe, $2 billion in British saving in icesave.com. In another era, it would have caused a war. What does that mean? Actually, 120-some British municipalities had put their money in an Icelandic saving account called icesave.com. Cambridge University lost $20 million. And there's $1 billion altogether, excuse me. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you in a flat world, when someone saw just 1% change over here, attracted all this money to icesave.com. Well, you know what? The opposite is also true. You get your regulations right, your aspirations right, your opportunities right in a city like Sacramento. Oh, in a flat world. The people, the money, the innovators, if they say, wait a minute, you're Sacramento, it's an HIE. It's a high imagination enabling city. And they proved it because they're working on their schools, because they created this green industrial zone over here, because they passed a really high regulation. All their companies had to meet it. Now they're exporting to every other state in the country because they're kicking everybody else in behind. So you make yourself an HIE as a city, a high imagination enabling place. I tell you, Kevin, a lot of stuff will flow here in a flat world, getting flatter, farther, faster, deeper, cheaper than you have ever seen before.